All right, let's talk about something that I think almost everyone feels, that nagging, chronic sense that things aren't quite right, and maybe you aren't quite enough. If that sounds even a little bit familiar, then this explainer is definitely for you. This just nails it, doesn't it? You work so hard for a goal, you hit it. You think this is it, and then the good feeling just evaporates. But listen, this isn't some kind of personal failure. It's actually a super predictable pattern, a loop that so many of us are caught in. So, let's start by looking at the symptoms, How exactly has this constant feeling of dissatisfaction become the default setting for so many of us? This feeling, it shows up as this internal restlessness, right? It's that little voice inside that makes you look at other people's lives with envy, and then you look back at your own with this feeling of disappointment. It's this constant gnawing hunger for something more, something better, something that's always just over there.
And here's the thing, our modern world is basically built to pour gasoline on this fire. Think about it. Social media creates this impossible standard to live up to. We're bombarded with everyone else's highlight reels, which leads to something researchers call upward social comparison. And the more we compare our messy, real lives to these perfect, curated images, the worse we feel. All of a sudden, just being normal starts to feel like you're failing.
Okay, so if that's the feeling, what's the actual diagnosis? Why is satisfaction so slippery? Let's get into the mechanics of why our brains seem to be constantly moving the finish line on us. This is such a key idea. It's called the hedonic treadmill. You know that promotion you busted your butt for? Or that new phone you just had to have? Well, your brain adapts. The new, exciting thing quickly becomes the new normal, and you find yourself emotionally right back where you started, already looking for the next thing to make you happy. And this right here perfectly explains the expectation gap. All our dissatisfaction lives in that space, the gap between the lasting happiness we expect to get and the temporary buzz we actually experience. The bigger that gap, the more frustrated we feel. And get this, there's actually brain science behind it. Your brain has separate systems for wanting something and for liking something. And it turns out, the drive to pursue a goal, the anticipation, the chase, that's often biochemically way stronger and more rewarding than the feeling you get when you actually have the thing. Our brains are literally hardwired for the chase, not for the arrival. So we get it. The finish line keeps moving. But the problem gets so much deeper when that constant chase gets all tangled up with our very sense of self. Let's look at how this all builds into what we can call the identity trap. This is the absolute crux of the issue. The real trap isn't just chasing things. It's when we start to believe that we are the chase. We begin to measure our self-worth by our momentum. As long as we're moving forward, we feel okay, we feel worthy. But the moment we slow down, man, it feels dangerous, like we're failing at just being ourselves. You see what's happening? The dissatisfaction just won't go away. Because growth stopped being something we do and it became who we are. So we keep piling on goals, not because we truly need them, but because the stillness, the silence, that's when we have to face that feeling of not enoughness without our armor of ambition. Okay, so that was a little heavy, right? If the problem is this moving finish line that's tied to our very identity, then the solution can't just be another achievement. The antidote isn't getting more, it's gaining perspective. It's all about a fundamental shift in where we choose to put our attention.
Now, I know what you might be thinking. Gratitude can sound like just another fluffy self-help trend, but it's actually a really powerful tool that's grounded in serious positive psychology and even cognitive behavioral therapy. It's the simple, active practice of refocusing your attention away from what you lack and onto what's already good in your life. It's about consciously closing that expectation gap we were just talking about.
And hey, the science on this is pretty overwhelming. People who regularly practice gratitude aren't just a little happier. They have stronger relationships, they actually sleep better, and they are way more resilient when life gets tough. It directly pushes back against the exact feelings, like envy and materialism, that were fueling our dissatisfaction in the first place.
So, let's break it down into a simple 3-part game plan for finding contentment. Step 1 is just shifting your attention by practicing gratitude. Step 2 is learning how to reframe all those social comparisons we make every single day. And step 3, and this is the big one, is to untie your self-worth from your achievements. To make progress something you do, not something you are. Now, all this might sound a bit abstract, but it's really not. You can actually take real, concrete steps to start rewiring your brain for more contentment. So let's look at one super simple, powerful action you can start doing like today.
And here's the most amazing part of all this. Your brain is not fixed. It's not set in stone. Through consistent, simple practices of self-reflection, you can literally start to change your core beliefs about your life and your worth. And that, in turn, changes everything: your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions.
And this is one of the easiest, most studied ways to do it: gratitude journaling. Yeah, it might feel a little weird at first, but just start simple. 1 to 3 times a week, just write down 5 or 10 things you're grateful for. It could be the taste of your morning coffee, a nice text from a friend, anything. Studies show that even after just a few weeks, people report being way more satisfied with their lives. It's a small action with a huge impact.
Because ultimately, this is the big shift. Peace was never waiting for you at the next finish line. Contentment isn't some prize you have to earn in the future. Enough is a decision. It's a perspective you can choose to adopt right now, just by focusing on what you already have instead of what you think you're missing. So I'll just leave you with this one question to think about. What is it that you're chasing right now? What's that one thing you believe will finally quiet that restless feeling and make you feel like you're enough? Because sometimes just becoming aware of the chase is the very first step to setting yourself free. Thanks for tuning in.